Bedtime Stories. I'm Gammie, and I'm so happy that you could join me tonight for story time. I hope you've had a blessed weekend. I hope you've been able to get outside and enjoy the weather, the nice weather, and be able to play with your family and your friends and have lots of fun, making lots of special memories. So without further ado, let's get right into our story tonight. Tonight's story, the reading permission has been given by public domain, and the name of our story is The Tale of Mrs. TIGGY-WINGLE by Beatrice Potter. Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Lucy who lived at a farm called Little Town. She was a good little girl, but she was always losing her handkerchiefs in her pocket. One day, little Lucy, she came into the farm crying. Oh, did she cry so? I have lost my hanky, I've lost my hanky. 3 handkerchiefs and a penny. Have you seen them, Tabby Kitten? She was looking everywhere for them. She couldn't find them anywhere. The kitten, well, she just went on washing her white little paws. So Lucy asked Speckled Hen, Sally Henny Penny, have you found 3 pocket handkerchiefs? But the Speckled Hen ran into the barn clucking, I go barefoot, barefoot, barefoot. I don't think she's seen them either. And then Lucy asked Robin sitting on a little twig. Robin looked sideways at Lucy with her bright black eye and flew over a stile and far away. Lucy climbed upon the stile and looked up at the hill behind Little Town. Well, a hill that goes up into the clouds as though it had no top. And a great way up the hillside, she thought she saw some white things spread upon the grass. Have you ever seen your grandma or maybe your mommy or daddy? They might have those little bitty handkerchiefs that they carry around to wipe sweat, or maybe if they got a little runny nose, might dab their nose a little bit or cough into it. Excuse me, I didn't mean to kick the tripod. But anyway, that's a little handkerchiefs. And they come in handy. They're kind of like paper towel or little tissues that we buy in a box, but they're a little bit sturdier and you can throw them into the washing machine and wash them. And so those are called little handkerchiefs. And so that's what little Lucy's lost. And she's looking for, and she's asking everybody to help her find. But she sees some white things in the distance. I wonder what that might be. Lucy, she scrambled up the hill as fast as her little short legs could carry her. She ran along a steep pathway, up, until Little Town was just right away down below like a little pebble down the chimney. Presently, she came to a spring bubbling out from the hillside. Someone had stood a tin can upon a stone to catch the water, but the water was already running over, for the can was no bigger than an egg cup, and where the sand upon the path was wet, there were footmarks of a very small person. Lucy ran up, then she ran on and on. I wonder what she was thinking about, who it might be. The path ended under a big rock. The grass was short and green, and there were clothes props cut from stems with lines of brushes and a heap of tiny little clothespins. But no handkerchiefs there. But there was something else, a door straight into the hill, and inside it someone was singing, Lily white and clean, oh, with little frills between, oh, smooth and hot, red rusty spot, never here be seen, oh. Never heard that song before. Lucy knocked once, Lucy knocked twice, and interrupted the song. A little frightened voice called out, "Who's that? Who's that?" Lucy opened the door, and what do you think there was inside? A nice clean kitchen with a flagged floor and wooden beams, just like any other farm kitchen. Only the ceiling was very, very low that Lucy's head nearly touched it. And the pots and pans, well, they were small, and so was everything else in there. There was a nice hot, singy smell, and at the table, with an iron in her hand, stood a very short person staring anxiously at Lucy. Her print gown was tucked up and she was wearing a large apron over her striped petticoat. Have you ever seen Grandma wear an apron? Gammie's granny wore an apron all the time. I don't never remember. Gammie never remembers the time that I didn't see my granny wearing an apron when I was growing up. So I wonder, boys and girls, does your granny or grandma, do they wear an apron? Do they have an apron? It ties around the waist and it had pockets in them. They were cute. Special memories, special memories. Her little black nose went sniffle, sniffle, snuffle, snuffle, and her eyes went twinkle, twinkle. And underneath her cap, where Lucy had yellow curls, well, this little person had prickles, little sharp points. I wonder who that is. I wonder who Miss Tiggy-Winkle is. "Who are you?" said Lucy. "Have you seen my handkerchiefs?" The little person made a little curtsy. "Oh, yes, if you please. My name is Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle, and yes, if you please, I'm excellent starcher." And she took some things out of a clothes basket and spread it on the ironing board. Does your granny or mama, did they use an iron, boys and girls, or an ironing board? Gammie has one. I used to use it a lot more when I was younger, in my younger days, than I do now. But I still have one. I still have my iron, and every once in a while I'll break her out and put some pleats and things. But Miss Tiggy-Winkle, she's ironing. "What's that thing?" said Lucy. "That's not my handkerchief." "Oh, no, if you please. That's just a little waistcoat belonging to Robin, the bird." And she ironed it and folded it and put it to one side. So she had the little Robin bird's clothes that she was ironing. Then she took something else off a clothes horse. That isn't mine," said Lucy. "Oh, no, that's a tablecloth belonging to Jenny Wren. Look how it's stained with grape juice. It's a very bad thing to wash. It's hard to get out," said Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle. So she's taking care of some things for the little robin bird, and then little Jenny Wren. She's been very helpful. Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle's nose went sniffle, 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 snuffle, and her eyes went twinkle, 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 and she fetched another hot iron from the fire. "There's one of my handkerchiefs," cried Lucy, "and there's my penny." Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle ironed it and got it all shiny and shook out the frills. "That's lovely," said Lucy. Oh, so she took care of Lucy's stuff too. What a nice little helper she is. And what are those long yellow things with fingers like gloves? That's a pair of stockings belonging to Sally Henny Penny. Look how she's worn the heels out with scratching in the yard. She'll very soon go barefoot if she doesn't get a new pair, said Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle. So it sounds like she's taking care of everybody. Well, there's another handkerchief, but it isn't mine, it's red. Oh no, that one belongs to old Mrs. Rabbit, and it did so smell of onions. I've had to wash it and wash it separately, and I just can't get the smell out. There's another one of my handkerchiefs, said Lucy. Lucy just looking everywhere for her handkerchiefs. What are those funny little white things? Well, that's a pair of mittens belonging to Tabby Kitten. I only have to iron them. She washes them herself. And there's my last handkerchief, said Lucy. So Lucy found all of her handkerchiefs. And what are you dipping into the basin of starch? They're little shirt fronts belonging to Tom Mouse. Most terrible stains, said Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle. Now I finished my ironing, I'm going to air out my clothes. I bet she means go hang them on the clothesline, maybe. Gammie has a clothesline and I love it. I love it. There's nothing a better smell than when you hang your clothes out on the clothesline and you go get them in. Oh, they smell so clean and fresh. Smells so good. What are these dear soft fluffy things, said Lucy. Those are woolly coats belonging to the little lambs. Will their jackets take off, asked Lucy. Yes, if you please, look at them sheep mark on the shoulders. And here's one marked for Gatesgarth and 3 that come from Littletown. They're always marked at washing, said Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle. Sounds like she's kind of like a little dry cleaner place. And she hung up all sorts and sizes of clothes. Small brown coats of mice, one velvety black moleskin waistcoat, a red tail coat with no tail belonging to Squirrel, and a very much shrunk blue jacket belonging to Peter Rabbit, and a petticoat not marked that had gone lost in the washing, and at last the basket was empty. She had done all the laundry. They all hung up. Then Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle made some tea, a cup for herself and a cup for Lucy. They sat before the fire on a bench and looked sideways at one another. Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle's hand holding the teacup was very, very brown and very, very wrinkly with the soap suds. And all through her gown and her cap, there was these little pin-like points sticking out through the wrong end, so that Lucy didn't like to sit too close to her. I guess she was afraid she'd get stuck. When they had finished tea, they tied up the clothes in bundles, and Lucy's handkerchiefs were folded up inside her clean penny and fastened with a silver safety pin. And then they made up the fire with turf and came out and locked the door and hid the key under the door. So they were done. Then away down the hill trotted Lucy and Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle with the bundles of clothes. All the way down the path, little animals came out of the fern to meet them. The very first they met was Peter Rabbit and Benjamin Bunny. Oh, she's passing out, look, she's passing out all the clothes that she's taking care of for everybody. That's so sweet. And she gave them their nice clean clothes, and all the little animals and birds were so very thankful to dear Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle. So that at the bottom of the hill, when they came to the stile, there was nothing left to carry except for Lucy's one little bundle. They passed out all the clothes to everyone. Lucy scrambled up the stile with a bundle in her hand, and then she turned to say good night and to thank the little lady for washing her clothes. But what a very odd thing. Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle had not waited either for thanks or for washing the bill for washing her clothes. She was running up the hill, And where was her white frilled cap? And her shawl? And her gown? And her apron? And her petticoat? And how small she had grown. And how brown. And covered with all those little prickly sharp points. Why, Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle was a little hedgehog. Now some people say that little Lucy had been asleep upon the stile, but then how could she have found 3 clean handkerchiefs and her little sack with silver safety pins? And besides, I've seen that door into the back of the hill called Cat Bell's, and I'm very well acquainted with dear Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle. The end. Well, boys and girls, Gammie hopes that you enjoyed our story tonight, The Tale of Mrs. Tiggy-Winkle. And that was so sweet and kind of her when everyone was losing their belongings, their handkerchiefs, their stockings. She'd find them, she'd wash them, she'd mend them, sew them up, iron them, and pass them back out to them. And you know, those are things that we can do. We can help out around the house. We can help our moms and dads and our brothers and sisters, our teachers. Oh my goodness, they need help too. They need help gathering up papers and homework and assignments. And there's always something that we can be doing to help every day, multiple times during the day, to make someone's day a little brighter, to be able to make a difference in somebody's life. It doesn't have to be something just great, big. It's the little things that mean so much. Saying thank you, saying please, helping someone carry their lunch to the table if their hands are full, or maybe they're not feeling well that day. Just helping them out any way that you see that someone needs help. That's being a good, kind friend. And it's easy to be kind. It really is. Sometimes in this world, it does seem like things are a little out of control sometimes. And but always remember to try, boys and girls, to be positive and to smile and see if you can brighten someone's day. Smiling at them might cause them to smile back at you and put some happiness in their heart. And so Gammie hopes that you enjoyed our story tonight. And if you did, I would love it if you would give me a big thumbs up and like, share, and subscribe. That would mean so much to Gammie, and I just want you to know that Gammie appreciates every single time that you come and you listen to a story with Gammie. I love that, and I love you all. God bless you all, and sweet dreams till story time again. Bye-bye.